Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our interview presentation series. Today, we want to talk to Revival Gold, and Hugh Agro, the CEO, is here with us. Hey, good morning to Toronto. How are you?
Very good, Jochen. Great to be back with you.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, and I would suggest we dive directly in because you have a short presentation prepared for us, which we want to go through, and I will ask, of course, some questions. I would suggest the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. We're in a rising gold market, and no better picture to start this presentation than the sun rising over the Bear Track ARNETT Gold Project in Idaho.
Beautiful.
Cautionary statements as usual. As you know, Jochen, we've been working on this project now for 4 years in Idaho, in the United States. Key project advantages: number one, the jurisdiction, top ranked in the world. Number two, we have infrastructure, roads, power, hydropower, gold processing facility. And number three, very positive PEA results on the first phase of this project, which is a heap leach open pit mine. We've been at the same time driving our exploration, and the big highlight from our program in 2021 was drill hole 240 in the Joss area at Bear Track, where we hit 12 grams over 14 meters and another 9 grams over 12 meters in that area. And of course, we have a resource update on the way. It's in its final stages, and we'll have it out before the end of March.
Yeah, you have only like 4.5 weeks left.
That's right. Believe me, we're cracking the whip with the consultants. It's actually quite an involved process. We've got Wood PLC doing the engineering work and the resource work for this piece of resource. And there's a number of elements to it. We've got geotechnical testing that we've been doing over the last 12 months, which will be reflected in this report, as well as updated metallurgy. And of course, block model and a updated geological model for the deposit as we get into the high-grade underground potential at Joss. So lots of details coming together for that resource update. We're in the eastern part of the state of Idaho in the western United States. And recall that there are 27 million ounces of undeveloped gold in that state. It's a very big endowment, very attractive to the majors as they're scrambling for projects in good locations. Our first phase project is a relatively straightforward $100 million of capex to produce 72,000 ounces a year of gold, generating at $1,750 gold, $50 million a year of free cash flow. And you can see the infrastructure pictured here in this photo. And importantly, in the table at the bottom, we're only mining about a third of the current resource with this first phase of the project. The deposit's open, and the technical risk is relatively low because we're on a site that's been worked before.
Might that change with the new resource update?
Yes, thanks for drawing that out, Jochen. As you can see, the prior resource was done at $1,400 gold. We've had 2 seasons of drilling since this resource was done, 2020 and 2021. And we are expecting a good update here. The main focus of the drilling in 2020-21 was to convert inferred material to measured and indicated. And of course, that upgrades the quality of the resource in preparation for a PFS. But I think we'll also have an increase in the resource. We'll see when the numbers come out by the end of March. This is the site layout at Bear Track ARNETT. Very simple situation here. We're staying within the footprint of the prior operation, which is important for our re-permitting of the site. We've got 2 pits, a south pit, a north pit, and then we go over to the satellite pit at HAIDEE, where we have an oxide deposit there servicing the mill, the ADR facility located here at the apex of the property. So all of it in a relatively compact situation, and most of it housed within the existing disturbed area at Bear Track. And we always like to talk about the infrastructure, Jochen. This is a huge advantage, but I also want to highlight the hydropower which services the site. This is carbon friendly and relatively low cost at 5 to 6 cents a kilowatt hour. And as we know, there are very strong inflationary pressures in the industry, And this is something that's a real attraction for the project as we take it forward.
What is that lake in the back on that photo?
Yeah, there's a solution pond behind the ADR facility where a solution from the heap leach is collected and then processed. So this is sort of the existing infrastructure which will allow us to move relatively quickly back into production. Next steps are highlighted on this slide. We do have a metallurgical column tests underway. This is to give us a better characterization of the metallurgy. We're looking to try and improve our metallurgical recoveries in the heap leach, currently assumed to be 60% on average. We've also been doing field work on geotechnical and hydrological aspects of the projects. That work is well in process. The field work was done last year. The test work and the analysis is taking place now. Optimization studies, baseline environmental data collection, and of course, exploration. And I want to come to that now. Here we have the property position shown here. Recall that the ARNETT side of the property is located on the left, and the Beartrack side of the property is on the right. The overlay, the colorful overlay here, is an aeromag survey, which shows the rock mag tendencies, and it gives us an indication of where we have structure, shown with these dark lines here. The main body of the resource is located on the Beartrack side of the property. In total, we have 3 million ounces of resource, and it's over a 5-kilometer trend here on the Beartrack side. And we've got high grades in this system. In the Joss area here, we've been working now with 18 drill holes in over a kilometer of strike with high grades of 4 to 11 grams per ton gold. The big intercept I mentioned earlier, it was located right here, approximately 110 meters of 4.3 grams per ton gold.
From the geology and let's say from the ore setting, is it all the same? Can you, let's say, work everything what we are seeing here through your future production plant?
Yeah, the first phase of the project is heap leach. So we'll pick up oxide, transition, and some sulfide material here for heap leach. And then we go over here to the satellite deposit at HAIDEE, which, by the way, is open in all directions and is entirely an oxide material. So that's the first phase of this property. The next phase of the property is to process the sulfide material through a mill circuit, and that will require a second phase of investment, a second stage of investment to take that forward. And what that gives us is a huge advantage, because rather than have to build one big plant right off the start of the project, we can get going using and leveraging our existing infrastructure to produce that 72,000 ounces a year and generate the free cash flow towards the larger project. Now, I've talked a little bit. Sorry.
And can you finance phase 2 out of the cash flow?
No, there will be an additional investment, but it will be less than we might otherwise face. And the other added advantage is that we'll have the people and the equipment on site so we can phase the intensity of operational activity, which is another risk minimizing step that we can take with this potential restart of operations and the longer term plan for the project. I was just going to point out, Jochen, before I interrupted you there, that we have this oxide deposit at HAIDEE, but we have a number of other prospects in that ARNETT land position, and we're going to be drilling those this year. Moving to the next slide here, some of the results in our HAIDEE satellite deposit. I know this is very, very busy, but I'll just draw out a couple of things here. 7,500 meters of drilling in the last 2 years with 45 infill and expansion area core holes. A deposit remains open in all directions. What we're looking at here is the resource from 2019, end of 2019 here in pink, and the drill holes shown in blue that have taken place since that resource. And I can just give you some color here. On the eastern flank of the deposit, we're getting intercepts like 14 meters with a gram, 15 meters with 0.9 grams. On the western flank of the deposit, we're getting 18 meters of 0.75, 41 meters of 0.75. And to the north, again, the deposit remains open, where we're getting 13 meters of 0.77 and 16 meters of 0.92, all in oxides, all from surface. And this gold shading here shows us where we have a soil geochem anomaly moving uphill from the current resource. Now, we obviously want to get in here and drill, and we've now advanced the permitting to allow us to do that, and we're planning to get in there later this year with some additional drilling. And here's why that drilling has been so important. This is a sectional view through the HAIDEE deposit. The pit outline in the current resource is shown here in brown shading, and that was the pit that we had in our PEA, our preliminary economic assessment. But what you can see here is drilling outside of the pit shell, which is in ore grade material and shows the continuity of the pit outside of the existing resource shell. And again, here, where in this case, we're actually within the resource shell, but outside the previous block model. So additions to resource and reductions in strip ratio from this drilling. So these are all positive as we develop the resource and move towards a PFS on the heap leach phase of the operation.
So that would also probably enlarge then the future pit, right?
I think so, yes. I mean, the deposit remains open, Jochen, and you can see on this slide here, again, this is a bit detailed, but this is the ARNETT side of the property, so the left branch of the property. The approximate scale here, we're looking at something in the order of 1.5 kilometers here. So this is quite a large area, but what we're showing here is soil geochem anomalies in the shading, and then rock chip samples from outcrop and from float in these areas. And you can see we've got grades up to 91 grams in the float material across this property. We've only drilled at the HAIDEE location. These other locations are largely undercover. That is, they're covered up with a tertiary post-mineral material, which clouds the perspective, but we can see that there is mineralization in the soils. And so we'll be drilling these later this year and looking for additional deposits like HAIDEE, which outcrops on surface. This is the sectional view through the main bear track system. And as we've been talking about this system, 5 kilometers of strike, 4 pits in the current resource, but the area of interest for us at present is in the underground potential at Joss. And this is where we've been focusing our drilling over the last couple of years. I want to show you a view here of the trend, again, from the south end of the deposit to the north as we move up to the south pit area. This is a 2-kilometer stretch. So just to give you a sense of scale, this is a 2-kilometer stretch of strike in the deposit. And you can see that every single one of the drill holes into the Panther Creek shear zone, the main structural trend, has intersected gold, and quite some high grades here. The pink shading is 5 grams. You can see we've got an open pit here. We've got maybe 4 or 5 drill holes in here, all of which have intersected. We need to fill that in. And here in the Joss area, where we focused our 18 drill holes to date over a kilometer of strike, again, every single drill hole hitting that Panther Creek shear zone and hitting high grades of mineralization. And this is what it looks like in plan view. So we're in the middle of the property position here, so well located. In fact, this is the old heap leach pad here. The open pit potential is to the north, over here on the right of the slide. And then here we've got a continuation of the structure, and it's too difficult to see those grades. I encourage viewers to come to our website and find this page on our presentation on our website, but they're summarized here. We've got a bulk mineable underground component of about 40 meters of drilled width. And then within that, about 5 meters of drilled width in high grades, averaging 7.3 grams per ton over 1 kilometer. And here's a long section view of that same 1 kilometer strike, the 18 drill holes in that area. We see this potential continuing at depth, and I'll talk more about the deposit system, but it's open here to the north, open beneath these drill holes as well. We really haven't even scratched the surface here. We've only drilled to about 300 meters vertically to date, and it continues. The deposit is open in all directions. Mm-hmm. And so this brings me to the deposit model. And this is a orogenic gold system. We're now quite confident in the understanding of the deposit. We've done a lot of modeling and brought a lot of geologists on site over the last couple of years. And this compares very much to what we see at, for example, McRae or Fosterville, or probably the best deposit model for bear track is Kittila, where we have the same sort of 5 kilometers of trend, vertically orientated, and grades in the underground, in the open pit, POX processing. It's at a slightly smaller rate of production than what we would envision for bear track, but it's a similar type of scale and type of deposit. And so these can be very productive. And the important aspect here is that there's a significant vertical extent to this type of deposit. So we've got lots of potential to pursue exploration at depth.
Mm-hmm. What do you think you need? Because you write here, target is more than 5 million ounces. I mean, the target is nice to have, but don't you think what you have by now, when you prove that up into, let's say, pre-feasibility, feasibility, that would be easy enough to start a production and then to finance the exploration with production, right?
Agreed. Yes. And that's what the PEA shows us, is that we have enough material to start generating free cash flow from the first phase of this operation, and we'll just continue to explore. This is the beauty of the deposit and the setting that we're in at Bear Track ARNETT. We have a first phase, and we can invest that free cash flow in further exploration as the company makes progress. I want to speak quickly on the ESG side of the business. We're in a wonderful part of Idaho. We've got a lot of support and encouragement from the state government of Idaho and the local community of Salmon, Idaho, where we take our responsibilities very seriously. We have annual community open houses, and generally the questions are about progress and job creation, which is something we like to respond to, because this will have a big impact on the state of Idaho and the community of Salmon, Idaho, the county of Lemhi. It's got an excellent track record of environmental performance. We've got hydropower. We've got all kinds of interesting technologies that we can bring to bear as we think about a modern mining operation for Bear Track ARNETT. And it's a great legacy of people and setting to be working. I won't spend a lot of time on our leadership team. There have not been a lot of changes, but there are two of note. First of all, we brought John Mayer on as VP Engineering and Development. John joined us from one of our peers in the state of Idaho. Previous to that, he was with Kinross and with Barrick. A long experience in engineering, project management, and has a lot of experience with Idaho and the state of Idaho and bringing projects on through permitting and through to online, optimized and with the types of processes and mining approaches that we're taking. This is an incredible add to our team, and we're really thrilled to have John on the team, joining Steve Priestmeyer, Pete Blakely, and Lisa Ross and I. This is our capital structure here, and we've got about 87 million shares outstanding, Jochen. We completed a $10 million private placement since you and I last spoke. So we have about $10 million of cash to take on this year. We welcomed in a very important investor, Donald Smith, now our largest institutional shareholder. A significant deep value fund that came in with that private placement. And we're really excited about Donald Smith's backing. They've had a lot of success in the industry. and like our U.S. location and our value proposition. So current market cap about $61 million.
And I think also, if I see here Echelon, Beacon, Paradigm, PI Financial, if I'm correct, I think the price targets are between $1.45 and $2.20 or $2.40 for your stock, right?
Yes, $2.45. Yes, lots of upside in the stock. Currently trading in the order of $13, $14 an ounce in the ground, which I think offers a lot of upside. And the catalysts are in play here. We're financed. We've got a resource update coming out, and I'll speak to some of the other timelines ahead of us here. We've got, as I said, a resource update in the works. Will be out very soon. In the meantime, we're continuing with our Heap Leach metallurgical test work and trade-off studies as we prepare for a potential Heap Leach PFS. That's coming the end of this year. And in the meantime, we're continuing with our exploration as we want to build out more open pit oxide material and the high-grade sulfide exploration drilling that I've been speaking about. And our intention there is to build on what we have with the oxides and with the heap leach plan to take the overall operation up over 200,000 ounces a year of gold. And again, this is a great location to be mining gold, very solid mining state in Idaho. And so we think there's a big future here, and we want to build towards that target. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's a very nice upside for our investors as we continue to build out the leach project.
Is the permitting, let's say, a little bit shorter than, for example, in Nevada? Because I think in Nevada it's like at least 30 months to 36 months process. So Idaho may be a little bit faster?
Well, the permitting stages in the U.S. on public land, on federal land, are very similar. It's a NEPA process, National Environmental Assessment, but so the timelines will be similar to what we see in Nevada. But the benefit of the Bear Track site is that we already are working on an existing plan of operations. We've got a lot of baseline environmental data already from the prior operations going back 30 years. It is a modern site in the sense that mining took place up until the early 2000s before the project was mothballed. And so we've got great data, a great understanding of the project, some aspects of permitting still in place, including, for example, cyanidation. And we'll be looking at re-permitting the site as opposed to starting in a virgin situation. And that'll definitely make for a smoother process as we bring the heap leach phase online. And Jochen, I can summarize by saying we are the largest past producer in the state of Idaho, and I think that distinguishes us from our peers. There's a lot of familiarity with the Bear Track history and a lot of support for the potential redevelopment of the site. We've got a significant head start with that infrastructure, which is another differentiating feature for us. Strong economics for that first phase PEA with the heap leach restart. We're it. And we've got a really exciting exploration project timeline ahead here with drilling to recommence in May, high-grade targets, and open deposits and target opportunities across the property position, currently trading at $14 US an ounce in the ground. Now, I want to just speak to one other aspect of our team. I mentioned John Mayer had joined us, but the other person who's just joined our board is Tim Warman. And of course,
yes, whom I know very well.
Yes. So Tim is, for those who don't know Tim very well, he's a professional geologist. He's been involved with some of the biggest discoveries in the world in the past decade or two, including Fruta del Norte, which is where I first met Tim. He was part of that massively successful Aurelian gold, and then Continental Gold. And then recently he's been the CEO of Fiore Gold, which was just acquired. And we were lucky enough to have Tim join our board. He's got great experience both in the industry technical side of the business, but also in the capital markets and great name recognition. So Tim's going to be a huge help as we continue to progress Bear Track ARNETT back to production and grow the deposits with exploration.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Thank you, Jochen.
Super. Thank you very much, Hugh. Let me stop that presentation here. Maybe one last question. How do you think you're gonna, put that financing package together? Could you imagine to do streams, royalties, or do you say no? We do more a classical side, 50 equity, 50 debt.
Yeah, I think for the next year, we're in good shape with funding. And what I'd like to do is get our resource update out, get our PFS done on that first phase, and then we can look at what our financing options are for the project. I would say that ideally we'll keep the stream and royalty aspects of any financing package at bay until the last moment, and until we have the full package across the balance sheet figured out, equity, debt, and other. There is lots of interest in that aspect of the financing, so I think it'll be highly competitive, and especially for a domestic U.S. project. But our focus in the immediate term is on continuing to develop the resource, firm up the economics and the plan. We are in an inflationary environment, so we are expecting costs to go up. But at the same time, our last resource was done at $1,400 gold, and I think we'll bring that number up for the study just to come, and for our future PFS. And so we want to balance all those things out, understand what our options are, and consider funding and our path forward in 2023.
Fantastic, Hugh. Thank you very much for the update. That looks all great, and also congratulations again to the financing, and that you have got that fantastic fund. In addition, I think that's a big sign of trust, and of course, congratulations on the addition of Tim Warman. That is for sure a very good thing. Super. Hey, wish you all the best. Thanks, Hugh, and talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Hugh Agro, the CEO of Revival Gold, and you heard it, next gold producer in Idaho. Things are progressing really well. The bank is cashed up, and within the next 4 weeks, probably comes the resource estimate, the new one, and I'm pretty sure that will be quite positive, because the company had a fantastic drill program, great hits, and so things look really good. And honestly, for that stock price is way too cheap. So I would suggest you really have a look on Revival Gold. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.